Hello and welcome to our last WISE series of this 2021 school year. Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Jamie Lutz and I am the STEM Marin coordinator. With me I have Christina and Genesis who will be introducing themselves in just a bit. One piece that I want to remind folks that are watching this is that we are always looking for wonderful women to participate in our speaker series. So if you do have an interest, like these ladies have expressed with us, and we'll be hearing their wonderful stories today, please reach out to me or visit our website at stemmarin.org. So first off, I'm going to start with Christina. If you could introduce yourself to our audience today, that would be great.
Sure. So my name's Christina. I actually grew up in Redlands, California, and my major here at Duke is chemistry. So I graduated in high school in 2015, graduated from my undergrad in 2019. So that was about 4 years there. And then now this PhD program is about 5 to 6 years rather. And so now, 2021, so I'm 2 years in now.
Great. And Christina, what are you hoping to do with your chemistry degree in your doctorate here?
So I would like to be a professor in the future. I want to run a medicinal chemistry lab, so to help develop medicine.
Wonderful. Genesis?
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be here today. And thank you, Jamie, for letting us be here. My name is Genesis Higueros. I am actually a San Marin alum. I graduated from San Marin in 2015, and then I went to UC Merced in California. Graduated from there in 2019, also 4 years as Christina. And then I am currently a PhD student at Duke University, studying mechanical engineering and material science. And I'm also in my second year, expected to graduate in around 2024. And what I would like to do with my degree, I would also like to become a professor. I really love teaching, but at the same time, I also want to have my own research lab and particularly focus on technology that will be commercialized and have a huge impact in our daily lives.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, ladies. We'll just go ahead and jump into kind of our series of questions that we ask our panels. So the first one you kind of we already talked about. We introduced ourselves. You told us a little bit about yourselves, and do either of you guys, while you're going to school, also have internships or jobs, or is there anybody that you work for in addition to your schooling right now?
So I do not. I think it's, I don't know, Genesis, about you, but I think it's discouraged in my department just because we should focus, on our PhD so we can get out of there as fast as possible. That's just my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so again, I think my advisor as well would discourage that, but we have had research internships previously. We kind of needed those to have experience and then to be able to apply to graduate school. I will say I do also work as an outreach coordinator for a student organization. So I'm kind of my own boss there, but it's really great. I work with students, just teaching them about STEM and all the cool things you could do with material science.
Cool. Yeah, that does kind of make sense. You need to have the experience, right? But you can't have the experience if you don't have the time and you're supposed to focus on your schooling. So it makes a lot of sense that you guys would be asked to kind of focus on the studies first. So in your, the few years that you've been going to school and in your times, both in maybe high school or middle school, have you had anybody that kind of inspired you guys to go down this path? Who or even what? Was there something that an aha moment that you might have had that you both kind of went, this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm so excited, and this is my path, and this is my passion?
I could go first. So definitely a person who has inspired me was my mom. She sacrificed a lot for me, both of my parents, and particularly my mom. You know, she was very young when she had me, and I knew that whatever I wanted to do in the future, that I wanted to support her in the future, and just how she has always supported me, and she always told me that I could do anything that I wanted, and that, you know, really allowed me to be able to look into different careers and find out what I wanted. But I didn't really know what I wanted until I think I got into undergrad. I knew in high school that I wanted to work, you know, making devices for the environment, or just be an environmental whatever. But, you know, I didn't really have good grades my freshman and sophomore year of high school, but then something clicked. You know, I started looking into global warming and opening my eyes and realizing all of that. And really that's where my passion came from. And that's how I ended up, you know, starting getting better grades. And because of that, I was able to have a really good scholarship to go to undergrad, because I really, really stopped everything and really focused on my studies.
Great.
Yeah.
That's every mother's dream come true, is to have their kids succeed, and then also be able to take care of them afterwards. Christina, what about you?
So my inspiration has also been my parents, specifically my mom. So she has been chronically ill since I believe 2011, and that led me to pursue medicine. So that path has always been very obvious for me, that I wanted to pursue medicine because of that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, at times I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I definitely did not have the grades to become a doctor, but I something in my head just clicked that I realized I liked chemistry. I actually hated chemistry in high school. I did not do well in chemistry in high school, but something in undergrad, I don't know, something in my mind just clicked, and I was like, okay, cool, chemistry is awesome, and I can use this to actually change the drugs that people take instead of just prescribing them. Mm-hmm. And that is just, yeah, what led me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's so touching to hear too that, you know, your inspiration comes from wanting to help your mom, because that ultimately will help the world, you know, mm-hmm. And that's very admirable. For your schooling, what does an average day kind of look like for you guys?
Yeah, so for me, for a PhD program, typically you take classes your first 2 years, and then the rest you're just kind of working on your own projects and researching. Mm-hmm. So one day for me, or a typical day looks like for me is going into labs, and of course, you know, it depends on your advisor, but sometimes we can make our own hours, which I can do, which is really great. You know, I could go there as early as I want or stay as late as I want. But I end up just focusing on my projects, you know, reading articles. I love being in the lab. You know, I get to synthesize certain materials and then use them, predict how they will work. And there are a lot of failures, but that's definitely part of it. And you learn every single time you fail. And, you know, yeah, it could be frustrating, but honestly, I just, I love it. And I always feel so privileged just being in the lab and getting to work on these really high, costly equipment, and getting to do all of the awesome projects that I'm able to do.
What's your favorite project that you're working on right now?
I would say right now, I'm working on improving battery performances. So trying to be able to charge them faster, and also having higher packed energy batteries. And one way I want to do that is through a structure. And so I'm trying to synthesize nano or microstructures and then put them inside my battery. But I think that's just incredibly cool. You know, I'm not changing the chemistry of the battery. I'm changing the structure, and just that alone will improve the performance.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome for sure. Christina, what about you? What's an average day look like for you, and what are you currently working on?
So in my department, we only take classes for about the first year. So I'm not taking classes anymore since I'm in my second year, but now, so I'm a synthetic organic chemist, which means that I'm in my hood constantly. And I'm usually standing at my hood for about 70% of my workday. I run reactions, and then I will do my analysis, at my desk. But I typically try not to bring work home. That's something that COVID has taught me, to reduce the amount of work that I do here, to create that, or to force that barrier between work and home. And I think that's really important for grad students. So that's what my average day looks like. And now, because of COVID, I can create my own work hours. Previously, we had to be in the lab from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., but now it's more flexible. And what I am working on, so I am currently working on trying to optimize Parkinson's drugs.
Great. That's really exciting. What is your research so far kind of helping you to prove? Is there anything, or are you still pretty early on in it?
So trying to reduce this, so Parkinson's drugs have very bad side effects that are often more debilitating than the disease itself, which is pointless, right? To treat the drug, if you're going to treat a disease and then you're going to make it worse.
Right.
So we're trying to reduce the side effects, and we have found something that does reduce the side effects, which we're really excited about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. You always see those commercials for drugs and you're like, side effects could include, and you're like, I think I would just rather have the disease at this point. That's just, okay, no, thanks. You're telling me I'm going to almost die from taking these drugs. That's not the point here. So that's really exciting. And Parkinson's is making big strides right now too. So that's really, really cool. What are your guys's, so I know that you're both in your second year, and usually, you mentioned that the kind of the tail end is your own type of research. Do you guys have any ideas of what you want, like your dissertation to be on, or what your project is going to be? Or is it what you're working on now is kind of the 2 to 3 year path of what you'll be kind of graduating with as a dissertation?
For material science or mechanical engineering, typically, whatever you do in your PhD program ends up going in your dissertation, or at least the first few years. That's kind of like the foundation that will be built off of. And I think, yeah, definitely for this battery project that I'm working on, maybe not as, I'll probably have more projects later on, but I will definitely need to come back to this project. So I would say definitely when you're getting into a PhD program, definitely try to start focusing on what you want to do research after your PhD program. So kind of already prepared and taking those steps. And I think, even if your project is kind of still far off, if you change topics, I definitely still see try to find ways in how you can incorporate your first project into your dissertation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me also. I know a lot of people in the chemistry department, we often have like 4 different projects that we put into our dissertation. I do think that my Parkinson's project, it requires a lot of work. I do think it'll be more than enough for dissertation.
Cool. That's great. Both very necessary research pieces, especially for this time. What made you guys both want to go to Duke? What drove you from after doing your undergrad work? Was it something about the school? Was it just a change of scenery, being on the East Coast? What kind of led you to go down that path with Duke?
I think for me it was several reasons, but the biggest reason being the scholarship that we were both given. But my family, they're not rich, so I kind of did have to find my own resources to try to pay for my own school, and Duke ended up having a better. I was offered to 2 schools, and Duke had a better offer. But also the atmosphere, definitely, I felt very welcomed here, and everybody was incredibly friendly, and I didn't see that in a lot of the other programs. I felt more of like a competitive atmosphere in other programs. So here I felt very welcomed, and I connected with my advisor. I felt comfortable speaking to him if I had any problems, personal or professional. So I think those were like the top 3 reasons why I came here.
Great.
And I guess like why I chose grad school, like during the last, I guess couple of years of my undergrad, I realized that I wasn't satisfied with how much I knew and my ability to problem solve. Like I had a lot of knowledge and I was very much able to problem solve, but I wanted to develop that further. And so that was one of the reasons why I chose grad school. And because of what I wanted to do, I wanted to work as a professor, with the lab. So I need my PhD for that. And why I chose Duke. So yeah, Genesis and I have the Sloan Scholarship. It is intended to increase minorities in STEM. And they provide, a lot of additional funding. So grad school is free for all students. Well, your PhD program is free. So they pay you to be here. That's not the case for the master's, not the case for med school, but we are paid very well. So yeah.
Wow, that's
totally free.
We will be talking a little bit more about that to provide that opportunity for our students who do struggle with that, because that's kind of the rub, right? Like we want the knowledge, and like you said, Christina, I just wasn't satisfied. I needed more, but that more can cost a lot of money. And so being able to have those resources and know, we'll talk about that in a little bit, because I think it's really important that you guys talk about the resources that were available to you, both in high school, in your undergrad work, and where you're at now, because I think that that's an important aspect for our younger generations to kind of understand, is that you don't have to stop if you don't want to, because there are resources available. Talking about your accomplishments, both now over the last couple of years, what are you most proud of, either in school, any work that you did, any internships that you had? What's the accomplishment that you're most proud of, or a couple accomplishments? Either one.
I could start, or Christina, do you want to?
Yeah, you can go ahead if you're ready.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. So definitely just I think one accomplishment that I'm proud of is just being here. I'm a first generation student, but I was the first to graduate in my in an undergrad and receive a bachelor's in my entire family. That was such a huge accomplishment. And then just coming here, I haven't finished this program, but already I'm so proud of myself, and it's a big deal, it's a really big deal, especially for Latino families or just people of color in general, and recently both me and Christina passed our preliminary exams, which is kind of a milestone in your PhD program, and I am just so happy and so proud of Christina and me, and it was tough, but we made it through, and I'm so proud of us. And yeah, again, I still haven't finished the PhD program, but I'm still very happy to be here.
It is. It's a big step. It's a very big step. And it's a scary step too sometimes, because you don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know what to expect, and you aren't sure if you're going to like it or not. So yeah, I agree that just being where you're at now is a milestone. Christina, what about you?
So I grew up in a very small family with, or a very small town, in a family who I wasn't pushed to seek, academic success at all. I've always had this internal drive in me, but I've never been pushed to do this. And, you know, I didn't meet anybody that ever took their career seriously. And I went to a really small undergrad, and I decided to major in, you know, both chemistry and biology. And I had several professors tell me that I was not able to do it, that they haven't seen anybody else do it before. And I was not able to do it. So I was the only one in my year to do this. And I graduated with honors. And so that is something that I tell myself, like, okay, people tell me I can't do this. I'm going to use this as fuel. I'm proud of myself, you know. And, you know, I've also received the Sloan Scholarship, you know, in a field that's so monochromatic. It really, I don't know, I'm just so proud of myself and of Genesis for receiving that. It's so prestigious. And I mean, we get, you know, an extra overall, I believe $40,000, you know, on top of the stipend that we already given. And when I finish my PhD, people will have invested, I believe, more than $400,000 in me to get my PhD.
Wow, gives me the chills.
Yeah.
That's so exciting, you guys. I mean, it really is an accomplishment for sure.
And I just want to add on to that and mention that those, you know, those scholarship opportunities and you know, our advisors paying for us, that's STEM, you know, that's not really in other majors, but you know, engineering is such a huge, or chemistry, you know, they have a lot of money, and you know, if you're interested in these careers, definitely seek out, because there's money out there, and there are people willing to pay for your education.
Yeah, it's a growing industry, and it is something that they're trying to pay, you know, it's on one end, it's cheaper in that sense to pay someone with a brilliant mind like you both have to make these strides in medicine and in battery technology and global technology in ways that will ultimately improve our quality of life in so many ways. It's cheaper in that regard to pay, so they're so willing to do it. And so I think that that's a really smart way. How did you guys hear about the scholarship? Was it something that your advisors told you? Was it something that you researched on your own?
I think I ended up knowing about the scholarship when I applied to Duke, but you know, generally I was always trying to look for those resources, and whenever they said like, oh, you know, scholarship opportunity, I would always apply, even if it's I thought I wouldn't get it, you know, it doesn't hurt, and I tried to apply it in many places as possible. There's also like a GEM fellowship, all of these different kinds, and so but Sloan Scholarship is specific to Duke.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Well, Sloan Scholarship, it's at, I believe, like 8 different universities. Duke is one of them, yeah, and then you know, Cornell, a lot of big universities.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember there was distinctly that there was an option on the application when I applied to Duke, like, would I like to receive more information about fellowships or scholarships, or would I like to be included in those, I guess, I don't know, pools. And so I of course said yes, why wouldn't I?
Okay.
And I did not know about the Sloan Scholarship before. I just woke up one morning and had an email that said, congratulations, you received this. And I told my parents, I was like, I think this is a scam. Like, there's no way somebody would provide $40,000 extra for me to go to Duke, but I mean, sure enough, it was very much real.
Right. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. It's like, yeah, wait, what? I'm sorry. just give us your email and your, you know, account, and we'll make it work. Oh, that's really exciting. That's very cool. And it's amazing that it's just checking a box, more or less. There's not a lot of hoops, because like you said, there's the money is out there, and people want to give it to those who ask. You know, if you don't ask, you don't get. Kind of thinking about your younger self, is there anything that you would want to tell yourself? Any advice that you would give your younger self, or any 3 things that you wish you could have told your younger self when you started on this journey for schooling? And it could be, you know, I'd love to tell my middle school self to focus more on chemistry, or, you know, whatever. But what are those 3 kind of things that you wish you would have told, that you would love to go back and tell yourself when you first started?
I think for me, a couple of things. Definitely, you know, paying more attention in classes, because I felt like all that information is so valuable, and I use it right now. But I have to, you know, relearn all of that information. And of course, we're not going to memorize everything we've learned, but at least paying more attention and, you know, actually trying to learn, you know, and not only learning in school, but learning outside of school, and doing my own research. Because I know for middle school, I was not interested at all. And so I kind of regret that, but you know what, like, it led me here. You know, I'm here no matter when you start, you know, as long as you start, you have the ability to get here. Yeah, I think I have advice, but I don't think anything else. Maybe practicing self-love, because you know, when you're trying to go for your higher education, even in undergrad, there are going to be difficult times, you know, but you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, and you know, you're taking breaks whenever you can, and eating right, exercising. I know that our parents always say that, but it helps. It really does help. Eating right will allow you to focus more and be able to learn efficiently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think, so 3 things. I really wish I spent more time with my family. You know, I've worked very hard. So I really wish I enjoyed more time with my family. I also wish that somebody told me that limitations didn't exist. And I know that sounds so, I don't know what the correct term is, but yeah, limitations don't exist. I was told so many times, Christina, you cannot do this. Nobody said that before. This is impossible. You cannot do this. And I did it, and I excelled. So limitations do not exist. What else? I would also say not to listen to what people say over you. Like, don't accept their words over you. I mean, again, like, I guess going off of what I just said, people told me I would fail. I didn't accept what they said. I took it into consideration, like, okay, is this insane? So I listened, I guess, but I didn't allow it to, you know, be words that were internalized in me.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't accept their condemnation, and I found out for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, those are all really sound advice. You know, making sure that we are pushing the limits as far as we can, and not taking no for an answer. And then also making sure that as we're doing that, we're also taking care of ourselves internally, physically, not exhausting ourselves to the point of, you know, harm or you know, ailment. So really, really great advice, ones that I'll probably even give my children, because it's always good to know that you're only limited by how far you want to go. Mm-hmm. Knowing that this speaker series is designed for young women who are interested in science and engineering, what advice would you give them? I know this kind of piggybacks off of what you would have told your younger self. Is there anything that you, any specific advice that I wish someone had told me this, that you think would be beneficial for the young women listening to this series?
Definitely. First off, I just want to say, well, I guess I'll start with, you know, trying out different things. If you could, you know, even in high school, there are clubs out there that you could try out robotics. I'm sure there are some chemistry clubs, and so just try it out as much as you can to see what you like. And it's okay if you don't know going into undergrad. I went into undergrad as an undeclared major because I didn't know, but you know, I ended up participating in student organizations, doing some internships, and that's how I ended up finding out what I wanted to do. So yeah, have an open mind, and definitely when you can, try out different experiences. And then another piece that I wanted to share with everyone is that your voice matters. You know, the STEM field is, it's, you know, to be very honest, it's, there are not a lot of people who look like me in my field. But that just made me realize that my voice was even more important, and that it mattered even more, and that they really need more women of color in STEM. And honestly, like our technology and our science could be so much more advanced if we were there, you know. So honestly, they need you more than you need them, because you know. So yes, your voice matters. Try out different you know, subjects. See what you like, see what you don't like. And of course, right now, if you don't like a certain subject, you might like it later, because it honestly, I feel like it depends on the teacher, you know. And so don't let you know, teachers or professors out there discourage you from doing what you want to do. Yeah, and then also for becoming, you know, an engineer or in, you know, any career in STEM, is just be creative, be persistent, have an open mind, and stay in school. Yeah.
Christina, what about you?
So I'd say, you know, in STEM, it's often, I don't know about you, Genesis, but I often would get discouraged about how many women were there. It's increasing a lot, and if we don't pursue this, then I mean it'll make it harder for future women to do this. And so sometimes when I get discouraged, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not doing this for myself, I'm doing this for the future women that want to be in STEM. Like, I mean, the first woman to ever join STEM, I'm sure that was her motivation, so other women could join this. And if she never did, then it would have been so much harder for Genesis and I to do this. And I'd also say to remember to sow into yourself. We often, you know, sow into our careers so much, but if you don't take care of yourself, you truly cannot be your best version. And yeah, I mean, I always knew that I wanted to do medicine, but I helped, I guess, hone that down into, I don't know what the right word is, but make my focus, you know, more on chemistry through trying out new things. I hated chemistry. I blamed my high school teacher and, you know, other people who told me that I couldn't do chemistry, but I figured it out for myself, and just trying new things. Even if you think you don't like it, maybe you will. I hated chemistry, and now I'm getting my Ph.D. in chemistry. So don't write things off.
Right. Know your value.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of the theme I keep hearing is you are worth it. You are. It sounds cliche, and it sounds like, you know, a cosmetic commercial, but you know, you bring value to the program and to the industry, and just know that every time. I wanted to touch a little bit, just real briefly, about the resources that you guys, are there resources outside of school that you felt kind of helped you along this path? Genesis, I know we talked a little bit earlier about 10,000 degrees. How did that program kind of help move along your schooling and your career kind of choice?
So that program was actually the best thing that could have happened to me, because it was it had all of the resources I needed to go to undergrad and even pursue a PhD. So again, I'm a first generation student. My parents didn't really know how to apply for college. They couldn't really help me, and which is very understandable, but I still needed to find that help. And so I ended up applying to 10,000 Degrees, and they are so amazing. They help you with your applications. They help you find scholarships, and they themselves are, a scholarship giving institution. So they ended up helping me through undergrad and kind of giving me a stipend every semester. So 10,000 Degrees, huge help. And then because of them, I was able to later on find the scholarships on my own. And I kind of knew how to find it now. I had the tools and the resources how to do that myself. So definitely, if you can, apply to 10,000 Degrees. And even if you don't get in, still attend their workshops, because they will be willing to help you. And I promise you, it won't be a waste of your time.
That's good. That's great. We work with 10,000 Degrees to try to bring in for our admissions process to the STEM Marin program, and they're wonderful people, and they're always willing to help. Christina, any resources that you felt really kind of helped you to figure things out going into your undergrad work or even in high school?
So I would spend a lot of time in the Career Center. We didn't have anything like 10,000 Degrees, but so the Career Center was, I guess, they had a bunch of resources, and I would say like, okay, what should I be doing now? In November, what should I be doing now? I should probably have, this essay written. So making a list of things that I would, ask the Career Center, and they would tell me what I should do. And then tell me scholarships that I could apply for. And I did something similar in undergrad. But yeah, I ended up taking out actually quite a bit of loans for my undergrad. My undergrad was very expensive, but just applying for scholarships wherever you can. And if you don't know where, just ask the Career Center. That's what they're there for.
Wonderful. Well, ladies, I just want to say it was a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schooling, out of your daily life. I know that being on the East Coast, it is a little later than it is here for you. So I really appreciate your time and your effort and all the things you're doing. I can't wait to see your guys' names in the news after everything, these wonderful ladies that you guys have been so willing to take the time for. So I really appreciate the effort here. And I can't wait to see all the wonderful things you guys do. It's really, really exciting. So thank you guys again so much. And for those that are watching, we will be picking back up our WISE speaker series in the fall. And if you know of anybody or would like to participate in the as a part of our panel, we would love to have you. So feel free to reach out to me or to hit up our website. Again, it's stemmarin.org. And again, ladies, thank you so much for a wonderful evening, or day, because it is day. Let's be honest, we're recording this, so it is the daytime.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys. Take care.